what was behind the tax investigation that needed to be put to an end. We already don't believe that the president has ever paid any taxes. We know perfectly well that he said he would release his taxes as soon as the tax audits are over. It's not clear that they existed to begin with, but now clearly they are over. So we'll be looking forward with interest to see his tax returns, as every other president has disclosed, to see whether he and his family and his businesses pay any taxes at all. But certainly a midnight deal hidden from the Appropriations Committee until after the hearing was over, so Blanche didn't have to answer questions about it, in which the same lawyer seems to be negotiating for both sides of the deal and giving the president and his family personal cover for whatever tax mischief they've been up to since the beginning of time, as I read the document, is something that we need to pay more attention to. So thank you for letting me add that to Senator Van Hollen's remarks.
Yeah, and what spurred the litigation is that somehow the president's tax return were released.
Patriots, welcome back to the channel, the home of unfiltered, no compromise America First Truth. Today we're diving into this Senate Budget Committee hearing where the radical left, led by that foaming at the mouth Democrat Sheldon Whitehouse, is having an absolute meltdown over President Donald J. Trump's Department of Justice settlement. This is peak deep state tantrum, folks. They weaponized every agency against Trump for years, the IRS, the FBI, the DOJ under Biden, and now that he's back in the White House draining the swamp, they're crying corruption. Let me break this entire clown show down for you, give you my raw take as a red-blooded right-wing patriot who loves this country, and tell you exactly why this settlement is not only justified, it's long overdue.
Senator Murray said earlier in the day we'll have a spirited debate about all this stuff.
About tonight?
Well, I don't think so.
Chairman?
Yes, Senator Whitehouse.
One additional word on yesterday's events, in addition to what I call the $1.7 billion cop beater slush fund that has virtually no accountability, delivered the week after Police Week in Washington, ironically. We also discovered that there is a Trump family tax amnesty deal that hard to figure out how that was negotiated and how you get to a proper case or controversy for a settlement there. It looks like the only signature on the document was Todd Blanche. Not clear who he was representing at the time. I've never seen a settlement between two parties in which only one lawyer signs, and nobody knows how that was negotiated, whether there was the slightest independent eyeball on that scam, and what was behind the tax investigation that needed to be put to an end. We already don't believe that the president has ever paid any taxes. We know perfectly well that he said he would release his taxes as soon as the tax audits are over. It's not clear that they existed to begin with, but now clearly they are over. So we'll be looking forward with interest to see his tax returns, as every other president has disclosed, to see whether he and his family and his businesses pay any taxes at all. But certainly a midnight deal hidden from the Appropriations Committee until after the hearing was over, so Blanche didn't have to answer questions about it, in which the same lawyer seems to be negotiating for both sides of the deal and giving the president and his family personal cover for whatever tax mischief they've been up to since the beginning of time, as I read the document, is something that we need to pay more attention to. So thank you for letting me add that to Senator Van Hollen's remarks.
Yeah, and what spurred the litigation is that somehow the president's tax return were released outside the law, and he sued. What would you do if somebody released your tax returns?
Well, the first thing I would do is I would have somebody independent determine whether or not there was actually harm done.
Yeah.
Because every president has always released their tax returns. So to have tax information released would seem to be a zero harm act for a president. Senator Cornyn is here. I know you want to move forward, so I will yield.
Yes. Well, this is why tomorrow will be very interesting. We'll have all these debates. And if it's okay, Senator Merkley, I move that the committee report the reconciliation bill. Is there a second?
And Mr. Chair, will there be an opportunity to make comments after that?
First, let's set the record straight on what actually happened. Illegally leaked Trump's private tax returns, a clear violation of federal law, and the president rightly sued the IRS for massive damages. We're talking a $10 billion lawsuit because the deep state tried to destroy him with selective leaks and endless audits designed to bankrupt him and his family. Now, in this hearing, Sheldon Whitehouse is up there whining about Trump family tax amnesty deal and a so-called $1.7 billion cop beater slush fund. Give me a break. This Democrat from Rhode Island acts like President Trump personally looted the Treasury. The reality? This settlement resolves years of weaponized lawfare. The DOJ, now under real leadership, reached a deal that drops the endless IRS harassment of Trump, his family, and his businesses, forever barring them from digging through his taxes looking for gotchas. And yes, part of broader accountability includes compensation for Americans who were targeted by the Biden regime's abuses. That's not a slush fund. That's justice for patriots who had the FBI raid their homes, banks freeze their accounts, or were labeled domestic terrorists for daring to question a stolen election or stand up for parental rights. Watch Lindsey Graham here. Even he's pushing back a little, asking Whitehouse the million-dollar question. What would you do if somebody released your tax returns? Whitehouse dodges it like the partisan hack he is. Let me answer that as a patriot. If the deep state illegally leaked my taxes to smear me in the media, I'd sue their pants off too. And if I were president after surviving the most vicious political persecution in American history, 2 impeachments, lawfare indictments, an assassination attempt, you better believe I'd shut down the IRS, which hunt against me and my family permanently. That's not corruption. That's self-defense for the Republic. Here's the truth the fake news won't tell you. Every single president before Trump voluntarily released their taxes because they had nothing to hide and weren't under constant assault from a corrupt administrative state. Trump was targeted from day one. The IRS under Obama, Biden, and the permanent bureaucracy leaked his returns to damage him politically. They audited him relentlessly while letting Hunter Biden skate on millions in foreign cash. This settlement is President Trump saying, enough. No more two-tiered justice. No more weaponizing the tax code against conservatives, pro-lifers, or MAGA supporters. The left screams accountability, but only when it's aimed at us. When it's their guy in the White House cleaning house. Suddenly, it's a midnight deal and scam. Patriots, this is why we elected Trump. To appoint loyal Americans to the DOJ and IRS who will stop persecuting citizens and start going after the real criminals, the ones who spied on campaigns, censored parents at school boards, and turned federal agencies into political hit squads. Whitehouse and his squad are terrified because this deal sets a precedent. You can't endlessly harass a sitting or former president with lawfare and expect zero consequences. The $1.7+ billion fund? It's about righting wrongs against Americans whose lives were ruined by the Biden DOJ's overreach. January 6th defendants railroaded, pro-life activists targeted, conservative organizations audited into oblivion. If regular Americans get crushed by the IRS for honest mistakes, why should the most scrutinized man in America, who built an empire and created millions of jobs, be subjected to never-ending audits just because he loves this country too much? This isn't amnesty. This is restitution. This is President Trump using the power of the executive to protect the executive branch from future deep state sabotage. The founders gave us co-equal branches for a reason, not to let unelected bureaucrats and vindictive Democrats run the country. Look, the radical left and never-Trump rhinos hate this because it proves Trump is unstoppable. He's not just talking about draining the swamp, he's doing it. Every time they attack him, he comes back stronger and America wins. What do you think, patriots? Was this DOJ settlement the right move to end the witch hunts, or should Trump have let the IRS keep digging forever? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. If you're tired of the two-tiered system, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. We're in the fight of our lifetimes to save this republic. Share this video with every patriot you know. The truth is our greatest weapon. God bless you. God bless President Trump. And God bless the United States of America. I'll see you in the next one. Stay vigilant, stay free, and keep America first.